welcome to Ari's world. So, I did a thing. Not quite sure whether it's the right thing to do or not the right thing to do. I suppose that's the point. You just trial and error and everything. But I did a thing. So I was doing a little bit of research on how authors turn a hobby into a day job. And I don't mean like, oh, let's be super famous, J.K. Rowling sort of level. I wish. There are thousands of authors that have honed in their craft in such a way that they do live their lives as full-time authors. And I wanted to see how a lot of people started that journey, or how a lot of people maintained like the early years before becoming an established author. And I found that a lot of people would write into magazines, or they would have articles feature in various news outlets. And there was one particular one which I found really quite interesting, and that was competitions. So I decided to enter a competition. So yeah, I thought I would tell you about my experience entering my first competition. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. So as I said, I entered a competition. And this competition I found literally by Googling writing competitions UK 2021. There was a long list. A lot of them were short stories or flash fictions or poetry, none of which apply to anything that I can do. And I found a few that had already passed, the deadline had already passed. And the one that kind of stuck out of me as being one that I could apply for was the Grindstone International Novel Prize. It is for unpublished, finished, and part-finished manuscripts, like mine. It's a UK-based competition, but they accept submissions from anywhere in the world. Hence the fact that it's international, as long as the written word is in English. The criteria was quite simple in the fact that it didn't seem like it was a complicated process. They simply asked for the opening 3,000 words and a short 300-word synopsis to accompany it. Now, a note for anybody that wants to apply for competitions, namely my future self, read the fine print. It wasn't that I made a mistake, per se. I just assumed that 3,000 was the limit. There was no more. That is what was told to you. Do it and run. So I had spent a week kind of prepping my first chapter, like finally deciding how to start it, because I think I remember saying that I had picked like 6 different avenues. And I basically had to settle on one, because if I didn't, then I couldn't make the deadline. So I settled on one and I worked on it and I was super proud of it, and it had like 3,200 words. And I was like, no, they basically wanted you to find the most natural break. So you give them 3,000 words, which is either your whole first chapter or kind of like a natural break if your chapters end up being very long. And honestly, I was like, that's just 200 words. Like, it's not a natural break. It's like right at the end of the chapter. What do I do? Oh my God. So I spent probably the best part of a week reading and rereading, throwing it into like word processors to like have it read aloud and find bits that I can cut out and reword and all of this malarkey. And I managed to get it down to like 2,995 words. And I was like, amazing. Only to find out that there was a 10% like margin of error for you to find that natural break. So yes, not that I'm angry. I think that it kind of forced me to do a bit of self-editing and find better ways to say things and cut a couple of bits out which were interesting to me but probably didn't actually do much for the first chapter. It was still a little bit annoying though. The more you know. So this competition is actually being judged by a literary agent of Janclow and Nesbitt. Am I saying that right? So like this is a real agency. I mean, they've got a fair few authors under their belt. You know, they've got like Lily Allen, which was quite an interesting one, and Gillian Anderson, and many, many others. And what is a competition without a prize? So the prize is £1,000 and a full manuscript request. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? It's £500 for second place, and then there are 4 shortlisters which get £100 each. In addition, they have a long list. So of all of the submissions, they kind of bring it down to a long list, and then that long list gets shortlisted. And there is a possibility that anybody on the long list can have their manuscripts requested. It's kind of like a door opening into the industry, which is just mind-blowing. So by the time this video comes out, the deadline for final submission will have passed, as that was the 1st of October, and the winners will be announced on the 16th of December 2021. Set the date in the diary. Now, I'm under absolutely no illusion that I am going to win, be a runner-up, be shortlisted, or even make the long list. That wasn't why I entered this competition. I entered the competition because paying an extra £8, you could get tailored feedback on your submission. I just thought it was a brilliant opportunity to have somebody read my work and give me some constructive feedback on it, regardless of what that is. Industry feedback is really, really valuable. And instead of having to pay hundreds and thousands for it to go through an edit to get that feedback, I pay a minimal fee through a competition. And, you know, if I win, isn't that amazing? I mean, I think it's the 2019 winner, Nikki May, is her name? Yeah, Nikki May. She went to get herself a book deal in the UK and the US, and all with a debut novel. I think I even read that it was going to be made into like a mini-series or something. But, I mean, that's not the point. The point is that competitions are a legitimate way to kind of springboard you into the industry. And I just think that it was an opportunity that I couldn't let pass, even if I did spend far too long editing a chapter when I didn't actually need to do it. But really, it was a painless experience. I mean, I can say that because I haven't had my feedback yet, and my feedback might be, forget it. I mean, other than your paragraphing is shocking, I actually don't know what sort of feedback they would give. So I'm really interested to see that. I'm really excited. I'm excited to hear somebody else's view from a marketability side, as well as a interesting story side. English is hard. I'm struggling. So as you expect, I am actually continuing to look at competitions. Most of them are like early 2022. I just want to see what's out there, see if there are any that I can throw my work at to get feedback and to go through the process and give myself goals to work for. I mean, it's really nice to do the whole daily, weekly and monthly goals, but kind of having those big goals, those actual deadlines, like physical actual deadlines that you can't skip because you don't feel like it that day. It's really motivating, at least for me. I think I've always worked best under pressure, and self-inflicted deadlines do work, but it's not the same as external ones, obviously. But yeah, so I did make my September goal, and I did write out a bit more on the last couple of chapters. So they were just bullet points, and now there are actually words and phrases and sentences and paragraphs. Lovely. So we are on track for this month's goals. I say on track, it's only 4 days in, 5 days in, some days in. My dabble's all a bit weird at the moment because it's linked up to NaNoWriMo, which happens next month. And it kind of is trying to make me do 50,000 words, which is not going to happen. But I will keep on top of that. The one thing that I am noticing when I'm going over things is that I am deleting a lot of rubbish, and then I'm like writing loads, but it's only showing that I've done 100 words, and I'm like... But such is the pain of writing. But yes, we're doing 15,000 words in October, doing Preptober for for the NaNoWriMo next month, which I will not be completing within the actual rules, because I'm not starting a new book and I'm not writing 50,000 words. I don't have time. But I would definitely be using it as a daily login to NaNoWriMo to try and get me some badges, see if I can remember to actually update every day to get more badges. So that would bring us up to around 60,000 words. 60? 70. I can't count. 70,000 words, which still isn't obviously within the range of where I'd need to be, because I have a lot more to write and a lot more to flesh out. But it's definitely getting me towards my self-imposed deadline, which is the new year, to have written a minimum of 100,000 words and have the entire book fleshed out, if that makes sense. I kind of want in the new year to be looking for a professional editor to come in and save me. Yeah, that's the plan. Might have to win the lottery first, because they are expensive. But we'll see. We don't know what will happen until then. Maybe on the 16th of December, I will be crowned the winner, and I won't have to worry about all this. No. So that's enough of me rambling today. I hope that you are enjoying the start of the best month of the year. Like and subscribe if you would like to join me on this fantastic journey. So yes. Wish me luck.